Hey there, English learners. Welcome to English Podcast 2.0, the podcast where learning English gets fun, easy, and totally relatable.
Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into some English words that might just make you blush a little?
Oh, it's going to be fun.
We're looking at an episode of English Podcast 2.0
Great.
with Liam and Emma, and they're talking about words that sound a bit too close to some, well, let's just say other words, for non-native speakers especially. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like those innocent words that can suddenly become landmines in a conversation.
Totally, like walking on eggshells, linguistically speaking.
Exactly.
Okay, so first up is cockpit.
Oh, wow.
Like where the pilots sit in a plane, right. But I can totally see how someone new to English might hear that and think, wait, hold on a second.
Absolutely. Especially if they're thinking about the words more colloquial meaning.
It's like an accident waiting to happen.
It really is.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how context is everything in language.
Right. And then there's titmouse, which honestly, who came up with that name for a bird?
Oh, I know. It's like they were trying to come up with the most awkward bird name possible.
It does make you wonder how these words came to be.
Well, titmouse actually has roots in Old English, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. Tit used to mean something small, and moose was a word for, well, any small bird. So over time, they kind of mashed them together, and voila.
Titmouse.
Exactly. And now we're stuck with it. But hey, it's a cute little bird, so maybe we can forgive the name.
I guess so. But speaking of words that might cause some confusion, what about shuttlecock?
Oh yeah, that one's a classic. The birdie used in badminton.
Right, but when you really think about it, shuttle and cock together, it's like someone was playing a word game and just went with it.
And you can just imagine the reaction of someone who's new to the language. They might hear that and be like, did they just say what I think they said?
Oh, totally. It's like a linguistic prank waiting to happen.
And this is where the whole idea of false friends comes into play. You know, those words that sound similar across different languages but have wildly different meanings.
So it's like a trap for language learners.
Pretty much. And it can lead to some pretty hilarious misunderstandings, too.
It reminds me of when I was first learning Spanish and I accidentally told someone they were pregnant instead of embarrassed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a pretty awkward moment.
I can imagine. But hey, at least it makes for a good story now.
Exactly. And it's all part of the learning process.
That's right. We all make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes end up being the most memorable part to the journey.
And then there's beaver.
Oh, yeah. The hard-working dam builder.
But for someone who's just learning English, that word might trigger some completely different images.
It definitely has the potential for misinterpretation, let's put it that way.
Imagine trying to explain that one in a polite conversation.
I know, right? You'd almost have to have a diagram ready.
It really highlights how much cultural context plays a role in language.
Absolutely. What's considered innocent in one culture might be totally taboo in another.
That's a really good point. So it's not just about learning the words themselves, it's about understanding the whole cultural landscape that surrounds them.
Exactly. It's like learning a secret language with all its hidden meanings and potential pitfalls. But that's also what makes it so fascinating, right?
Absolutely. It's all about embracing the journey and, well, maybe having a few laughs along the way.
And you know, sometimes it's not even the word itself, but the way it's pronounced.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Like duty.
Djibouti.
Say it with a real strong American accent, and suddenly it sounds a lot like
duty. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a good one.
Right. You go from something that sounds all serious and official to
something you'd hear on a playground.
Exactly. It's amazing how a tiny change in pronunciation can completely transform a word.
It's like English has a sense of humor sneaking in these little traps for us.
It really does.
Yeah.
And speaking of pronunciation pitfalls, we can't forget about peanuts.
Peanuts, oh yeah. That's a classic.
Say it a little too fast.
And it sounds like you're saying something else entirely.
Something that might get you some strange looks.
Especially from your grandma.
Exactly. It's a good reminder to, slow down and enunciate, especially if you're talking to someone who's still learning English.
Yeah, you don't want to accidentally drop a duty in a job interview or something.
Oh, that would be disastrous.
Yeah.
But it's true, though. We do kind of take these words for granted, you know? Mm-hmm. As native speakers, we're so used to them that we forget how they might sound to someone else.
Liam and Emma made a great point about that. It's all about perspective, really.
Right. We should try to be more aware of those little things that can trip people up.
And have a little patience, too. Learning a new language is hard.
It really is. but it's also so rewarding. And honestly, sometimes those awkward moments are the ones that bring people closer together.
Shared laughter over a linguistic mishap, right? There's nothing quite like it.
Exactly. It's like a reminder that we're all human, we all make mistakes, and we're all in this together. And who knows, maybe those embarrassing words will become your favorite part of learning English.
They definitely make things more interesting. And in the end, isn't that what it's all about? Connecting with people, sharing experiences, and having a few laughs along the way.
I think so. Liam and Emma wrapped up their podcast by asking listeners to think about other words that might fall into this category.
Like a challenge, almost. A linguistic scavenger hunt.
It's amazing, right? Like, these little words can really throw people off.
Yeah, it's like there are these hidden obstacles in the language.
You think you're getting the hang of things,
Yeah.
and then
You run into a word like shuttlecock, and you're like, wait, what did they just say?
exactly. It just goes to show that language is more than just words on a page.
It's a whole system of meaning, culture, and, well, sometimes a little bit of accidental humor, too.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so fun to learn.
Yeah, you got to embrace those awkward moments.
Absolutely. They're all part of the adventure.
Liam and Emma wrapped up their podcast by saying that English is full of these kind of surprises.
Which is true. It's a language that's constantly evolving, borrowing words from all over the place.
So you never know what you're going to come across next.
Exactly.
No.
And that's part of what makes it so interesting, right?
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes.
So as we wrap up our deep dive here, maybe this is something for everyone to think about.
What other words out there might cause a bit of a double take?
Or even just a quiet chuckle to yourself.
Keep your ears open. You might be surprised by what you discover. Until next time, happy exploring.